Hey guys, it's Jen, and I am here with a 12 by 12 layout to share with you. This is a picture of my husband and I. We were in his pickup truck, and I just snapped a quick photo before we were on our way to do some errands a few weeks ago. And I just thought I would document it because it's not often that we take a picture of just the two of us just doing normal everyday stuff. So I'm trying to get better at documenting normal daily activities. So this was just a normal day, probably a Saturday if I remember correctly. And I'm using this collection that I'm almost out of. I can't remember the name of it. If I think about it, I'll put it in the description. But it has a lot of boy type sentiments, to use for like little boy layouts. But I thought I could make it work for a layout of the two of us. So it's got a lot of blues and oranges and greens. And my husband's eyes are like a bluish gray. They're really pretty, and I love him in blue shirts because they make his eyes look really blue. And in the video, it doesn't really show up quite as much as it does in real life. But this was one of those pictures that in real life, it does really make his eyes look super, super blue. So I sort of played that up by matting that picture with blue and then the dark brown to sort of ground it. And I'm working on a grid here. I don't do a lot of grid layouts. They're not my go-to type of thing, but every now and then I get a desire to do a grid, and this was one of those times. I did 3 layouts today. It's Saturday, August 22nd, so this was the first one that I did of the day. And then I did 2 more. My husband went with the church group, like the youth group. He and the pastor went along with them to the races. So I had the house to myself tonight. So I just did a lot of scrapbooking and relaxing. So it was good. And that love there is from the die cut from the open book collection, I believe. I just got it not long ago, so I was just cutting out a bunch of die cuts from that set and thought I would use one here. So here I'm just lining it up and marking it so that I can get it the right width. I did have some trouble with this layout just because, again, grids aren't my thing. But they require too much precision when it comes to measuring, and I'm not the best when it comes to actual measurements and that part of it. I just like to play with paper and make pretty things, so I don't know. So I had to do some extra cuts here and there and shift things over a little bit, but once I get it in the right place, it comes together. I had a bunch of cards cut out from one of the sheets of paper, and that one that I just put there in the upper right hand corner, I was looking for something like more of a teal for up there in that corner, and that's what I was able to find. I had a bunch of cards cut, and that one has an airplane on the other side, and I didn't think that I would ever use that, so that's why I chose that one to use the back side of it. And here I'm just trying to fiddle around and see where I want to put the title. I put it there and then I end up picking it up and moving it over. So it doesn't stay there in the middle. And I found that card in the lower left, and it has like little prompts, you fill in the blank. I thought it was cute, and I thought it could work for a layout of the two of us, so that's another one of the die cuts that came with that collection. And I just used some old scrap paper that I had that's a navy blue color. I'm not sure what I'm looking for here. I must be searching for some orange, I think, to put behind it because I want the heart in it to be orange because I needed a little bit of orange down towards the bottom. Yep, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to cut out a little piece of that paper and then stick it behind that die cut so that the heart is orange. And to glue that on, I'm going to just use my glue pen that I've had since I started scrapbooking years ago, and they're still perfectly fine. So there we go, my heart is now orange, and now I just have to decide where I'm going to put it, and it moves around quite a bit before it finds its home, but here I'm just marking where I want to cut that. It's bothering me a little bit that it's cutting off a number, but there's really nothing I can do about it now, because I would have to move everything else. So I just go ahead and cut through it, and then I just ink everything like I did with all the other pieces. With the Memento ink. And then I get that placed up the top, but I don't think I glue it down right away. And here I'm just filling with the offcut, the heart from the center of that little ticket there, to see if I'm going to use it, and I don't end up using it on the layout anywhere. So here I'm going to go ahead and use these thickers to finish my title. I've had these for a long time. I haven't used them yet, so I thought that it was a perfect color. It matched his shirt and some of the papers, so I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do for the title, but I end up just using the word you. And I'm going to get some wax paper and get that put on so I can sort of move it around a little bit and decide where it's going to fit and how close I need to have the letters. And I do end up having to trim a couple of the letters. I don't know if it's in the video or not, but because I wanted it to sort of nestle in underneath the word love. So there you can see I moved it over to the far right hand side, and I put a circle and then a little 3D foam, or not foam, what is it, felt star there in the center. And here I'm just filling in the blanks on that little card. And I did ink everything with the same color ink. I think I used brown, if I remember correctly. Here I'm just going through my wood veneers. I'm going to pick out some little chevrons to fill up that little square, that rectangle there. And I'm looking for 5 pieces because I thought that filled the space pretty well, and it was an odd number, which is what I usually go towards. And when I do glue them down, they do end up getting a little bit tilted to the right, but whatever. It's handmade, so I'm okay with it. Adds a little bit of character. So since I put wood veneers there on the right hand side, I wanted to find some places to put some wood veneers in other places on the layout. So I put a star there, but then I end up moving that star and using a heart next to the word joy. I thought it went better, and then I moved that heart, or that star, up in the upper right hand corner, I believe. I like to use elements in groups of 3 if I can, which I think is probably what most people do. I don't normally think about it, and I just end up doing them in groups of 3. So there's the heart, and then I take the star, and then I'm like, okay, I need to put it somewhere. Okay, that looks good there. And I just couldn't seem to find a place to put that little ticket with the orange heart, so now I'm going through the papers to see what I can find to put over top of that multicolored chevron. And I find that blue paper, and I'm going to cut a fishtail banner there once I get this circle adhered and that little star. Just making sure I get it centered, and then sticking the star right there in the middle of that. And then I think I go to making the fishtail banner. Just marking it so it's the right length. It's not quite long enough, so what I end up doing is cutting an extra piece and adding it to the top. Because once I cut the fishtail banner in this and I put it on that chevron paper, the edge of the fishtail is too high. So I decide, okay, I'm going to try to hide it and I'm going to put another piece of paper above it. And up close you can't even tell, so I'm fine with it. Even though the grains like of the design of that paper are running the opposite way, it doesn't stand out much at all, so getting that all inked up, and then I'll get that adhered, and then I'm going to put that ticket sort of offset on that banner, and then I'll get everything else glued down, all the wood veneers. There we go with the banner. And then I'll get my ticket adhered, and I'm going to pop that up on some little foam squares just to add a little bit. Something popped up down at the bottom because I popped the word love up, and that star embellishment in the top there is pretty dimensional, so I wanted to make sure that I had enough at the bottom that was dimensional, sort of balanced out. There we go. And this is where I think I realized that the chevrons haven't been glued down yet, so I go ahead and glue those down. I must be looking for another sticker to see if there's anything that will work. And actually, after I stopped filming this, you'll be able to tell in the pictures because you don't see in the recording where I put the scalloped banner across the top and the bottom. I do that after I stop filming because I'm just sitting there looking at it and I'm like, it needs something, and I couldn't figure out what it was, so I end up putting a scallop border across the whole way across the top, and then across the bottom over to the edge of where the fishtail banner is, and then I put a sticker in the bottom right hand corner. So this is where I glue down the chevrons, a little bit tilted to the right, but we won't talk about that. And honestly, this Aleene's tacky glue, it dries just as fast as the 3M quick dry adhesive, I think. So, I don't know. I mean, that's like a great big bottle. I've had that for a while, and I keep using it and using it. So, I have the quick dry as well, but I have that in the fine tip applicator bottles. Okay, so making sure everything's glued down. I think I end up gluing that O down because it was popping up off the page. I don't know if that's in the video or not. And then after this, you will see some close-ups of the layout. I did add some stars there as well. And then I guess you can't even really see the scallop, but there you go. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.